My name is Helena Barbagelata. I am a model, multidisciplinary artist, researcher, and activist. I come from a mixed background and traveled and lived all around the world, and these rich and diverse cultural experiences deeply influenced me and my respect for the diversity of local history, culture, and political economic realities, but also for the common general vision with shared values and principles that is found worldwide. My work takes a personal approach to these social, political, cultural, and environmental issues. While I use a variety of techniques and materials, my methodology is consistently determined by my subject matter and formal concerns. I enjoy bringing life to the canvas and creating artworks that are personal and which also express a sense of interconnectedness and social responsibility. I work back and forth between drawing, painting, printmaking, sculpting, and writing. My interdisciplinary practice illuminates unexpected facets of subjects and generates new approaches and ideas, where I combine the real and the oniric, the lived and the imagined, an intersection between the palpable and the invented, on an exploratory journey through life's many layers. INSULA was created in the context of the World Health Emergency of the COVID-19 outbreak that brought us into a greater understanding of the enmeshment of all our economic, sociological, natural, and anthropogenic constructed systems that were all affected equally by the untoward impacts of the pandemic. Our anthropogenic activities were disrupted and restricted in order to curb the dissemination of the disease as we face the imminent risk of concomitant increased morbidity and mortality. The introduction of isolation led to job dissipation and increased unemployment hazard, elevated uncertainty, and healthcare costs that have thrown the world into an unprecedented state of global hardship. These trajectories exposed the dire consequences of our unpreparedness and raised many questions on the solidity and validity of our present systems. Were matters of quality of life, health, and environment of immediate concern in our individual choices and governmental policies? In a global culture that is based upon individualistic principles of private ownership, competition, and self-interest in all spheres of activity, how capable are we of working together towards the common good, even in matters of primary importance, such as our own lives? The pandemic has shown us a weakened sense of altruism, as colossal negligence and extensive shirking of responsibility regarding domestic and global health has led to a worsening situation, and in other, more extreme cases, what we could term as an ongoing genocide, such as the case of Brazil and some other countries that remain adrift or collapsing altogether. Haven't our social systems contributed to these disastrous consequences by conditioning and manipulating the consciousness of the mass population, who have gradually become docile and questioning, egotistical and self-censored? It has been made clear through these times of relentless tribulation that our current systems are environmentally unsustainable, socially unjust, and unable to guarantee happiness and dignified life conditions. Taking into account the collapse of our economic way of life, perhaps we should consider the pursuit of alternative ways of engaging in the economy that are ethics and value-based and aim to prioritize mutualistic cooperation and social profitability instead of purely financial profits. The issues that were amplified by the pandemic were already a part of our world, and one of my goals as an artist has always been to work towards a different framework based on solidarity, equity, human and earth rights, self-determination, mutuality, and cooperation. To raise awareness and encourage conversation around issues and even help improve the physical or psychological conditions of others through a shared sense of harmony and beauty. As a socially engaged artist, I try to incorporate these issues into my practice, and through the collaborations and dialogues I establish with different people, groups, galleries, associations, and communities all around the world. And one of the greatest questions asked is, how can we bring about a systemic transformation that goes beyond superficial change and that actively roots out the oppressive structures and addresses the fundamental issues that remain intact to these days. In my series, INSULA, we're exploring one of the concepts highlighted by the pandemic, insularity. The human experience of insularity and isolation and lockdown is one of humanity's greatest questionings on the definition of identity and community. The word insula is believed to have originated from the Latin expression insalo, that which is in the salty sea, from the ablative of salum, the open sea. This series was largely painted outdoors, as I often enjoy painting on the beach, and the closeness to the sea proved to be very therapeutic during these pressuring days. The wintry seascape made me think of the natural color of iron alloys and the blue-gray hues that they reach when properly cleaned of scale, with the steels having a darker blue-gray color and the heavier carbon alloys a dark carbon-gray surface, which will weather to black. I imagine our lives as islands hedged in by a sea of base metal. Often, when we think of an island, we perceive it as a body of land surrounded by water, but we can also see it as a body of life surrounded by lifelessness, by a sense of immobile, hard, massy material staleness, like that of base metals and their alloys, used in all of our infrastructures, tools, machines, vehicles, appliances, and weapons. How have all of these things locked us down and contributed to our sense of insularity and isolation? Do they help us build bridges or insulated walls, utilities or artillery? Are we the prisoners of our own structures and contrivances? Diversely, both steel and iron are rooted in the idea of firmness and standing firm. Can the experience of isolation teach us patience and resilience? Is a certain insularity also necessary to safeguard our sanity in a world that overwhelms us with its maddening violence and disquiet?